Please take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show this beautiful Friday morning here on Bettor Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-host, John Luke Garofalo and Andrew Cooper, a.k.a. Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, boys?
What up?
What's good, dude? Started off my morning just now with something pretty gross, if you guys want to hear about it.
Let's hear it. You know me.
Just now. Well, yeah, but just now, I told you I was going in the kitchen to get coffee. So I walk in the kitchen, I get the coffee, the coffee pot, and I go to my cupboards to look for a cup, and there's none in there. So then I open my dishwasher to grab one, and the moment I picked it up, while my hands
picked
were full,
up your dishwasher.
I
picked up the cup.
Dishwasher, yeah, pretty strong. The moment I picked up a cup, so I got a cup in one hand, coffee pot in the other. I immediately had to sneeze. But I didn't have time, so I just sneezed into an entire dishwasher full of clean dishes.
No.
Do I wash those or do I just pretend?
You gotta wash them again, man. You gotta just rerun it.
Yeah, here's what you do: close it, forget about it until 8 p.m., and then the dishwasher is gonna forget too. They won't even know that you sneezed all over them if you just ignore it for a little bit.
Are you doing all right? Because you sneezed on the way to the kitchen. I noticed.
I did double sneeze, right? Yeah,
it's a double sneeze.
Yeah, but I should have seen that sneeze coming because the first sneeze was a precursor.
And you couldn't cover it. You just went full on lean over the dishwasher.
I was already up in there. I had hot coffee in the hand that this hand, look at this one. Hot pot of coffee, bro. Can't risk that. And the thing is, dude, my auntie Koopy listens to this show, and we invited everybody over the day after the wedding. So now I definitely have to run the dishes.
You gotta run it again. Now you gotta run it again.
You just gotta run it again, man. I'm sorry. You just gotta bite that bullet. Otherwise, you're drinking and eating boogers for the next week.
Not that big a deal for me. I feel my own. I guess it's my own boogers, but still.
It is weird how
courteous thing to do.
Your own boogers, it's I shouldn't eat those, but it's not disgusting if one ends up in my mouth. But
if I go over to your house and sneeze all over your dishwasher.
Oh my god, disgusting.
If you were to sneeze on my dishes, then it'd be a problem. You can't be sneezing on other people's dishes. There's no question about that. And the thing is, since we're having people over, other people might use those dishes, so I guess I will wash them. The only reason I told that story because I wanted an opinion on whether I had to wash them again.
And
whenever I lived in Atlanta, before I was adult about my dishes, making sure they don't get too piled up. We had a broken dishwasher, so our sink was full to the brim with dishes, all the way to the top, double side sink. We were just lazy pieces of crap that week. But we were having guests over, and all of a sudden, it was 30 minutes until everybody was coming over. I was I do not have time to do these dishes. So I loaded them all up and put them in my bathtub and filled the bathtub up with water and a little bit of bleach. And I thought, shortcut, this will be nice and easy. I can just get them all clean in the bathtub while everyone's here. I take them out. I'll let you know. It did not work the way I intended. All that happened was I had a disgusting bathtub full of food particles and gross dishes, all the way to the top, completely full. And then I ruined multiple pieces of clothing trying to get all the dishes out because there was so much bleach in there that I had thrown on top of the dishes. So all I did was make it worse and destroy a lot of my clothes in the process. That was a terrible. Just wash the damn dishes instead of trying to take shortcuts.
That's the kind of thing where the thing from the hypothetical the other day where someone's following you around filming you. That's what we need that for, dude. Because I just want to see the look on your face when you were thought you were so smart. When you thought you were so smart to do that, and you're sitting there and you're like, yeah, dude, I'm a genius. I got this all figured out, right? I'm going to see two looks on your face. The moment you thought you were super smart, and the moment you realized that you were not.
You know, like growing up, I always heard like an adult male's brain doesn't fully develop until they're 26. And at like 24, I was like, bullshit, my brain's not developed. I am a fully developed man. And then I look back at some of my decisions. I'm like, guess my brain wasn't fully developed at that point in my life.
Exactly,
Like,
dude. It's
that
like
is a
there's like nothing in there except like Kanye West lyrics.
that's what's in your brain until you turn 26.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's
dude.
just
That's
straight
what's in mine.
ye in your brain until you're 26. Guys, we got some people in the chat ready for today's show. Tommy's in here. What's up, Tommy? Welcome. And he said,
Tommy.
morning, fellas. Morning, to you
Morning,
as well.
partner.
Howdy.
Howdy, partner.
Yep, skiddly do.
Greg says, morning, guys, and happy Friday. I'm so happy to hear you all talk about the game Rashad Wild Goose had. Man, just absolutely killed it, that Rashad Wild Goose.
Wild
Tommy
Goose.
saying, Wild Goose. Tommy saying, Coop, just rinse them, then you're all good. And Craig letting you know that's a little bit gross
I don't
over
know,
there.
dude. I feel like Tommy's got it right.
We got Maria in the chat saying, good morning. Remember when Coop told us he committed perjury in court on the show yesterday?
I do
Good
remember
times.
that.
When you say it like that, it sounds bad, Maria. Like that makes it sound
He just said
not
he would
as-
commit perjury.
A little bit
and
of
that he has in the past.
yeah, I mean, dude, come
Oh,
on,
yeah.
dude. Speeding, bro.
They can't get you for that.
Can't catch me, dude. Can't catch me, bro.
I mean, it
What's up,
sounds like
Mario?
they did.
Sound like they did, dude, but you know, and then they also didn't believe my lies. So
So did you have to pay the
I
ticket
guess I
anyway? You went up there and perjured yourself,
did.
and the judge was like, nah.
yeah, he was like, you know what? I respect you. I respect your willingness to be an outlaw, to be a bit of a renegade, but but we're gonna make you
Perjury's
pay
not
this,
funny, son.
son. Yeah, that's what he did. He sat me down. We had a talk, but had to pay that ticket.
We got our friend Sam Wagman in the chat. What's up, Sam? Sam
What up,
saying, walked
Sam?
in here to Simon saying his brain isn't fully developed. Somehow not totally shocked. Yeah, we're getting there. It was supposed to happen at 26. I'm a couple years late, but I think it's going to happen any day now. It's just going to
We're hopeful. We're hopeful.
We're hopeful. We're staying optimistic. Yesterday there was a report, guys, that Tom Brady could be fined for his apparent Grady Jarrett kick. Fined for kicking, $10,500 for a first offense and $15,500 for a second. It appeared Brady tried to kick Jarrett as both players were getting up, but he didn't make contact. Coop, you've been saying this since that happened. Like that was the very first thing you said after we brought up this hit was Brady tried to kick him.
It was like such a little girly kick too. Like you could literally hear him going, "Nyeh, ugh." Like he's like, yeah.
It was like a 3-year-old throwing a fit is what it was down
Right,
there.
yeah.
It was like a little kid throwing a temper tantrum on the ground. Like you're trying to pick him up because it's bedtime and he just throws a kick out there to let you know he's not going to bed.
He should be fine for being a little baby.
Justin Fields is quoted as tired of being almost there after the loss. He voices frustration over what resulted in Chicago dropping 3 straight games while stumbling to a 2-4 start. We always get told that we're almost there. We're almost there, Fields said. Me personally, I'm tired of being almost there. I'm tired of being just this close. Rough.
I mean,
Okay. I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
probably play a little bit better, dude. I mean, I know that last pass was in the Moondog's hands, but
yeah.
he had a lot of opportunities to not do that. Like, for instance, snapping the ball before the delay game. That's a little bit of an easier play, would it not be? Right? Or just throwing the ball. Like you guys see what I'm talking about, right? With the pass plays are being called and the ball is not being thrown. Like,
Yeah.
throw it, dude. Just throw it. And then you
throw it.
Like
Just throw it.
I think it was like the very first drive. He had the guy open on the slant across the middle, and he just didn't throw it, right? And he ended up getting sacked for like 8 yards. It's like just throw. You got to trust your wide receivers.
Give us your best Richard Sherman. Just throw the damn ball.
Throw the damn ball. Like it's okay, dude. Like it's okay. If you're going to be this bad, it's okay to throw an interception every once in a while. Just like give your guys a chance.
You're going to throw them anyways. Like you're not avoiding interceptions. Like whether you throw 18 or 40, you're probably going to throw at least one pick, Justin. Not looking great. Yeah, I get it. Of course, he's tired of being almost there. But I don't think this team's going to get there this season. I don't think they're a good enough team to get there. They're going to be almost there at least for the rest of this year. We'll see what happens after that. Maria in the chat saying, hey, girls can kick hard. Absolutely.
True.
How dare you? And then Craig and I'm getting roasted on the other side. Craig said, Simon, The kicks kids give to avoid bed are neither little nor a joke. They mean
Simon.
business.
Yes,
when they're
Simon and
trying to
Coop. Both
avoid
of you
bed over
get
there.
reprimanded. Not me.
Whoa,
I didn't say anything wrong.
I never said that girls can't kick hard. I did. I have a chunk out of my left shin bone that proves that. Like,
What?
solid one, dude. Oh, dude, this girl once kicked me with some.
What the heck is a chonk?
A big chunk missing from my shin bone. This girl,
chonk.
I think I was like in like middle school. We went on this like ski trip. I forget what I said, dude, but she kicked me with her ski boots in the shin. You can still feel like the spot where that was. Like, that's a danger spot, dude. Yeah, chunk, Maria. You heard that right. Yeah, they were made for kicking. Those boots were made.
Dude, what did you say?
Dude, I forget, dude. I think she said something like she like asked me if I had money to get
Grimace is
she like asked me if I had money to get something at the cafeteria, and I was like, I know a janitor's closet where you can earn that money, and then like bang, there goes my chin.
That sounded like you deserved it.
Yeah. You asked to get kicked in the shin with
it.
a ski boot on. You 100% deserved that.
No, I never said I didn't deserve it. I'm just saying that that it happened, and that I would never suggest that such a lame kick like Brady's would be a girl kick, because I've seen those kicks. I said it was like a toddler. I said it was like a toddler kick. Right.
And Tommy said, you deserved it. Absolutely.
I absolutely did. Absolutely did.
Keith said she was tired of hearing Coop talk about routes run.
Lean in real close.
Dude, you bet this tight end.
Evan didn't even throw the ball.
On a related topic, Troy Aikman apologized for the dresses remark from Monday night. My hope is the competition committee looks at this in the next set of meetings and, we take the dresses off, is what Aikman said. Later, he apologized during a Thursday appearance on Sports Radio 96.7 FM, saying, my comments were dumb, Aikman said via awfulannouncing.com. Just shouldn't have made them, just dumb remarks on my part. Yeah, you shouldn't have made those comments, Troy. I'm glad he apologized. I remember hearing it on air and being like, probably shouldn't say that right there. Yeah, little outdated. Troy, can't be saying that. People can be tough as nails in the dress.
Who's Troy's co-guy now?
Aikman. Were you asking for his last name?
No, who's like his co-host guy?
I forget.
Yeah, Maria in the chat said he's a woman hater just like Simon.
Hey, what?
She didn't say the Simon part. I added that.
Let's see. Who hosts the Joe Buck? Is that who you're talking about?
Ah, okay.
It's like having two Joe Bucks at the same time.
I am so bad at remembering announcer names. Like, whenever it's just a voice in my ear, I'm like, announcer. Like, I have no idea who's talking. I have looked up Al Michaels' name 3 weeks in a row now. Like, 3 weeks in a row, I've been like, who's that guy with Kirk Herbstreit who keeps saying the best stuff? Like, he just always has a line that makes me giggle. And then I have to go, and I'm like, oh, yeah, Al Michaels. I looked that up last week. Oh, and I looked it up the week before. Oh, and I looked it up the week before. Like, I just can't remember who the announcers are.
I love Al Michaels, dude. He was really carrying the water for the league last night on the Dan Snyder comments, though, huh? Like calling for him.
Man, that was They put him like they just put him up on the screen, and then Al Michaels just went in on Dan Snyder, and then saying like the best. You're right, Coop. He said like what he needs to do is just sell the team, avoid all this mess with the other owners, and
it feels like he's a bit of a mouthpiece, like. Between the Tua comments last week and then this week with the Dan Snyder one, it feels like he's definitely walking a party line with the NFL.
Smart, dude.
You think so?
If that was my boss,
yeah,
dude, I'd be like, let's say whatever they want, dude. For 100%. I'd be like, Bob Kraft is an angel. Never done anything wrong. But
I kind of like, I know they said Dan Snyder's working on collecting all that evidence, and we talked a little bit about this. One, just what a ridiculous thing for it. Like, he thinks like, oh, I know, I'll just publicly blackmail my way into staying as an owner of the Washington Commanders. Like, what a scumbag move to be like.
I don't know, man. I've watched a lot of Shonda Rhimes shows, and this is totally plausible.
I'll tell you
then, that he has all.
I think it's going to work out best for us because like, it's not going to stop him from losing his team. I feel like it's still all the shit he did is still all the shit he did. He just might take some more assholes down with him. Like, he might drag a couple of people down with him on the way out, which is fine.
Dude, these guys are all snakes. Dude, do you ever hear how Bob Kraft got the Patriots in the first place?
No.
There are three parts of the team. There's the team itself, the stadium, and then there's the land under the stadium. When the original owners wouldn't sell it to him. They like didn't like him. So he like quietly just started acquiring all the land around and under the stadium until he actually had it all. And then when those people struggled financially, they still wouldn't sell him the team. So they like sold it to this other guy, this investor that wanted to move the team to St. Louis. And then they didn't realize that like there was a lease like attached to the land, and Bob Kraft basically just like held their feet to the flames for like forever. And then that dude sold it to a guy that like owns Anheuser-Busch, and without him knowing that either. And Bob Kraft continued to like relentlessly be like, no one's moving this team anywhere. And eventually they just were like, all right, dude, like just have the team. Like he just like stole the football team from all these like rich dudes that wanted to move it, which is a bit amazing for me because they kept it. But like when you read like how it went down, it was like such a weasel move. I kind of love it, but it was a big time rich dude weasel move. 1000%.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah. So these guys are all, dude, they would definitely like,
yeah, they all got stuff against them. They're all like you said.
I feel ridiculous that this is the first time I've even had this thought, and it's because Tommy said that's a cheesy move. Are the Crafts like of the Kraft mac and cheese like fortune? Is it the same Crafts?
No, they do like their industry is like this. It's not the same people, but they do like something similar. What they do is like super boring. It's like a bunch of like, distributing.
I thought that he owns that. I thought he owns the school thing. I mean the food thing.
No, that's not him.
He's the CEO of
Kraft Heinz.
He's the CEO of Kraft Corp, a diversified holding company with assets in paper and packaging, sports and entertainment, real estate development, and a private equity. That is like the most rich shit I've ever heard. You know what I mean? Like it's just like with we'll dabble in this and this and like, okay, Kraft, I get it.
Yeah, it's just like a
that's crazy
conglomerate of just like weird stuff, dude. But yeah, I mean, like he's the man. I'll admit that. But like, I wouldn't mess with him. No way.
I'm saying I like him less now. Yeah, if he was the Kraft mac and cheese fortune, I would have been all about it. Dennison, you're saying, "What's up, boys? What's up, Dennis?
What's up,
welcome
Dennis?
in.
That's what I'm
glad to have you in here today."
Dude, this is blowing my mind. I swore that he was part of the Kraft mac and cheese thing.
Oh, dude, he should.
He's look on this,
but he'll probably find some like sneaky way to acquire it for way less than it's worth. You know what I mean? Like that's probably the next play. That's probably
yeah, that's the next thing he's buying.
That's the next thing he's doing. 100%, dude. He wants to get this whole thing. The Patriots are just like a pawn in his big long-term plan, which is to get that Cheezosaurus Rex.
Cheezosaurus Rex. Producer Key said JL thinks mac and cheese is big money, dude. These food companies. These food companies are owned. They're like all owned by like 3 brands.
JL, I have
just like super brands.
I don't know. You may have noticed I've been quiet. I've been doing a bit of like a deep dive here where you guys have been talking, and I found something I think you're gonna love. So I haven't found who the Kraft Foods Group sold to Heinz in 2015. So I was trying to figure out,
Chicago based, right?
Maybe before they sold, Robert Kraft was the person running Kraft Foods Group, right? But in the process of looking up who owned Kraft Foods Inc., I found that it was originally founded as J.L. Kraft and Bros Company by James L. Kraft. The guy who started its name was J.L., and it was the J.L. Kraft Company is what the original company was called. J.L. Kraft and Bros.
I'm on the Wikipedia, and this dude does look just like J.L.
JL has been upset that Robert Kraft wasn't the heir to the fortune, and somehow JL is actually the heir to the Kraft fortune.
Yo, the picture of Henry John Heinz, this dude had a serious what's it called when your mustache is attached to your mutton chops, but then you have nothing on your chin?
Mustache and chops.
I think he's got this guy is Dr. Mustache and Chops. Like,
oh my god,
these two dudes.
Balding, but with the chops, bro.
Legend. He's got the hair where it's not supposed to be. That's the guy's rocking. But dude, I just looked it up, and the Kraft group that owns the Patriots is worth like $5.3 billion. But Kraft Heinz is worth $42 billion. So producer Keith, JL was actually right on this one. There is big mac and cheese money.
Big mac
So-
and cheese money.
Guys, there is a name for the mustache attached to the mutton chops.
How deep
And
can
it's
we
called-
go on this thread?
It's called friendly mutton chops is the official name for it. It's called friendly mutton chops.
Created by J.L. Hines.
He's got the friendliest chops I've ever seen.
Friendly mutton chops. What a
Ernie said the call is coming from inside the house. And
Guys-
my mom said, secret's out.
man, that is blowing my mind. Like once you told me that says JL's ma, I see it. But for a while I was sitting there, I was like, Jilsma?
Jelsima.
Jilsma. I like it better as JL's
Both of
ma.
our moms have confusing handles on this.
I don't know.
app.
Jolly Rancher seems pretty clear that it's my mother, JL. I don't know
Why
what
did
you're
she pick
confused
Jolly
about.
Rancher? I'm just so confused.
Dude.
I don't know. She's sweet.
Kraft Heinz owns everything.
I told
Did-
you. I told you they own like Maria's cousin worked for them for a while. Poop on the Kraft Heinz.
They
bits.
make Kool-Aid, Grey Poupon, Capri Sun. Look at all that stuff.
Apparently they only give their employees like a 10% discount or
dude.
something.
Ooh, Velveeta.
If you ever want to be like totally shocked, look up like all of the food and drink brands that
Oh yeah.
that Pepsi and Coke own.
Yeah.
Like if you look at Pepsi, like all of Lay's chips are owned by Pepsi. Like every
Yeah.
Frito that you eat is a Pepsi product.
Keep going. It just keeps there's like always a layer above whatever company you're looking at, and it's just owned by another bigger company. It's insane.
Yeah, it is
It's like
nuts.
like 7 companies own like pretty much everything you buy in a grocery store.
Dude, this rabbit hole you go so deep. Now I'm
I know,
reading
right?
that. Now I'm reading that they own Philadelphia cream cheese, and the Philadelphia cream cheese was literally never made in Philadelphia. It was always made in New York, but the guy chose Philadelphia to like try and like weasel in on their
Market
dairy
it.
industry. Yeah, unbelievable.
Cream cheese is my mortal enemy because it is so good.
Of course it is.
And
It truly
it,
is.
God,
course
it
it
is
is.
so dairy, like
shuts-
so
it-
high in
it shuts you
lactose. Is
down.
cream cheese.
Yeah.
I will be out of commission for the next 2 days if
Yeah.
I eat cream cheese.
Before break,
Correct.
let's hit Dennis's question. Let's
100%.
talk a minor amount of football at least before the first break.
Dennis said half PPR start 1. Alan Lazard, Devonta Smith, Michael Thomas, CEH, also has Garrett Wilson and Najee Harris. So which one of those players would you be starting in a half PPR league? Alan Lazard, Devonta Smith, Michael Thomas, CEH, Garrett Wilson, or Najee Harris?
I regret asking that question. I regret, I regret that. We need an easier question. I don't know. I feel like I can't go away from Devonta Smith right now. That's my
Pretty good.
initial thought, right?
You can
10
take Michael Thomas out.
Yeah.
It's
And I would
between
take
Alan Lazard-
I would take CEH out because he's, depending on the game script, Jerick McKinnon plays more pass plays, and they're the underdogs at home for the first time in a long time.
Let me know, or I'll ask after this. Never mind. We got to get Dennis's question first.
Yeah, so
I'll
to
take
me,
Garrett Wilson out too.
it's Lazard or Devonta Smith. I mean, Najee Harris played fewer snaps than Jalen Warren this past week. One fewer, but still. I mean, the fact that he's splitting, I don't like it.
Alan Lazard's got the New York Jets. Devonta Smith has the Dallas Cowboys. CH has Buffalo Bills. Najee Harris has the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think I'm going to go Lazard against the Jets.
I'm with you, Jail. It's between Lazard and Smith for me. They're pretty close, but I'm going to lean Lazard. I'm going to lean Lazard. And Coop,
Well,
it sounds
you
like
guys
you're
are
leaning
you
Smith.
guys already voted. It's already 2-3 on Lazard, but I just want to on the record that
2-3.
I would start Devonta Smith in the half PPR. 2-3.
Totally
Yeah,
fair.
it's
Totally
It's already
fair.
2 out of 3. So
2 out of 3.
the record.
Also, Craig said, Tommy asked if I could grow a friendly mutton chops like that. I've never tried, but I will go out on a limb and say probably not.
I
Yeah,
said
my
that.
dad had a friend growing up, Ernie. Ernie was the man. So kind, so sweet. Dude
Ernie?
had
Bird dog?
sideburns like down to his nipples. Like
Down-
it was
Ew.
unbelievable. I was
Sure.
always so impressed. Like
I'm-
just like this. Yeah, you're right. But I'll do him this way. That's a much better way of doing that, showing the length. He had sideburns like down to his nips. They were just like they were glorious, beautiful.
This
Just
is what I would look
and-
like with the chop.
With the open mouth. Hold on, this
the mouth
exchange
always
in the
has to be
chat
open.
has got me. Craig said, I had mutton chops in high school. The football team loved it. My girlfriend did not. Tommy goes, Keith, you dated the entire football. He's talking to Craig. Is Craig, you dated the entire football team?
Yes, he says yes.
I
of
did
course did.
notice I almost pointed out the other day. There was one other day this week where Craig said something that Tommy came in and was like, "Oh, Keith," like where it was very apparent Tommy thought Craig was Keith, and I was like, "Do I let this keep going, or do I
Do I stop
say
it?
something? Do I stop it right now?" But looks like he got outed. Craig saved himself. Guys, coming up, we are going to be talking about that Thursday night football game that we all watched last night. And then we're going to be previewing this Sunday's games at some part with a little help from let's start over. Coming up, we're going to be talking about that Thursday night football game that we all watched, then previewing all of Sunday's games with a little bit of help from our friend Vinny Iyer. Then we are going to later in the show have our friend Aaron Ladd on from Kansas City's KSHB 41 News to talk a little bit about that Chiefs-Bills game that we got coming up this weekend. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network.
Corey, Nando, and friends, presented by Mayo Media on Bettor Sports Network.
Offense is down this year, Nando.
Yeah, it is.
Offense is down this year. Definitely. Offense has been problematic this year. There's a lot of teams in the NFL that struggle offensively. Let me look it up right now. Geno Smith right now is QB 6 on the season.
I can buy that.
I can buy that too. What's in the top 12 right now, Nando?
Yeah.
This is going to blow your mind. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, you know. QB 4, Kyler Murray. QB 5, Joe Burrow. Even with that being the top 5, okay, cool. I get it. Now here's where things get weird. QB 6, Geno Smith. QB 7, Carson Wentz. QB 8, Jared Goff. Geno Smith, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff on QB 6, 7, and 8. That's crazy. Those are undrafted dudes. Wentz throwing for a lot of yards. The Commanders can move the football, Nando.
Yeah.
The problem is they shoot themselves in the foot with penalties.
Right.
And that turnover is coming at some point. That Wentz interception, that Wentz fumble, you're going to get it at some point. Yesterday, they got it at the worst possible time. They're driving down, try to win the game. Bam, there goes the turnover. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But outside of that, his yardage he might have threw for 375 yesterday.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
QB 9, Herbert. QB 10, Mahomes. Mahomes and Herbert, two of the first quarterbacks going off the board this year in drafts are QB 9 and 10. QB 11, Kirk Cousins. QB 12, Tom Brady. 13 is Daniel Jones.
He's running.
Yeah, Daniel Jones is athletic. He is athletic. That was one thing that Jones does have with this game.
He's running through injury.
Yeah. But he's trying to hold on to his job.
I'm saying give him credit, man. Good for him.
This offense has not been great, has been the bottom line. You know what I'm saying? Offense has not been great this season. QB 32, Mac Jones. He's a starter. Winston has missed time. Dak Prescott has missed time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that could be no Trey Lance, right? Justin Fields is a starter. We didn't expect much from him. Baker Mayfield. Oh my God, he stinks. That's a starter. Matthew Stafford, a starter who stinks. Matt Ryan, a starter who stinks. Ryan Tannehill, a starter who stinks. Aaron Rodgers is QB 18. The reason why offense stinks is because quarterback play has declined.
However you're invested in sports, from betting to fantasy, collectibles, and more, join our community on Bettor Sports Network.
Welcome back in, everybody, to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network. And that last question from Dennis and something you said about CEH reminded me of a decision I've gone back and forth on about 15 times for my Scott Fishbowl roster this weekend. Maybe you guys can help me. The option is my last flex spot. I'm deciding between Gerald Everett and Jerick McKinnon for that last flex spot. I keep going back and forth. They're so close in my mind. I feel like Gerald Everett's the safer play. But I'm leaning McKinnon as the play here.
If this were a normal league, I would go McKinnon, but it's tight end premium. Got to go Everett.
You think it's got to be Everett? Even if Keenan Allen plays?
Got to go Preems, bro.
Gotta go Preems. Tommy asked me, is Van
Preems.
Jefferson back? Do we know if Van Jefferson's going to be back this week? I haven't seen any update on that, but we can look into that for you, Tommy.
They put him on IR like it wasn't week 1. But did they put him on IR week 2? If that case, he would be eligible to
week
return.
2.
But I don't think
20 days on IR.
So that's
he
not
wouldn't
enough
be ready
days.
yet. He needs one more.
No.
He wouldn't be ready yet.
He was ruled out week 3. Week 3.
Gotcha.
The Friday.
I think he needs one more game.
So he'll miss 4. He'll miss at least 4 games. So that should be, if it was week 3 of Friday, it should be right before week 3 or week 7. Sorry.
Makes sense. So not this week. No Van Jefferson back. Is that our cue to talk about Dante Pettis?
What?
A beautiful pass. Let's see. Oh, that's my bad, guys. I didn't know what was happening. All of a sudden, noise started playing in my ears, and I had no idea where it came from. I thought Keith was dropping a sound randomly in the middle of this. All of a sudden, Dante Pettis hype started playing in my ears. Here I come. Autoplay videos need to be illegal. I was like, what is going on? Why did they just throw a random highlight from last night's game into this out of nowhere?
Like, what are you talking about? Is that our cue to talk about Dante Pettis?
That
happened to me before too.
Gave me confidence where I was like, yeah, these guys, we're all in the same boat here. So confused about what Keith is doing.
We're confused by you.
Everyone was confused what I was doing. And Tommy said, I thought he finally lost his mind. Yeah, that's fair right there. Maybe it wasn't an autoplay video because I still haven't found it yet, but the noise did stop. It's somewhere going on. Guys, we had a question here from Lucius. Lucius wanted to know, tight end question. Start Disley, Ingram, or Pitts? Who would you be starting? Would you be starting Will Disley, Evan Ingram, or Kyle Pitts? Coop, which way are you going, Mr. Tight End?
No, I'm starting Ingram right now. I mean, he basically had one bad game against Derwin James, and then the next game was in a hurricane. But beyond that, he's done pretty well target-wise, and he's coming off 10 targets this past week. So, and it's a good matchup for him too, versus the Colts, who's so far this year, bottom 3 team versus the tight end. So I'll get Ingram in there.
God.
Disley ran fewer routes than Noah Fant this
You're not tempted by the Dizzle dog?
Noah Fant ran 20 routes. Disley ran 15, and they threw like 40-something times. Not sure how you could trust that fella.
I mean, it's crazy right now. Like, that your answers, like both of you guys are saying Evan Ingram. I'm about to say Evan Ingram as well, but that hurts a little bit, doesn't it? Like, I know you're excited about saving Evan Ingram, but over Kyle Pitts, like that stings a little.
Brings me great pain. But Pitts has there's like 4 different things going against Pitts. 1, he stinks. 2, he's coming off a hamstring injury. 3, he's playing one of the grittiest,
49ers.
grimy, slow the game down 49ers team. And then 4, the team just isn't throwing it. Like we talked about this yesterday. Joe Flacco has more pass attempts than Marcus Mariota, and Joe Flacco hasn't played in 2 games. Like they're just not throwing. Mariota, I think, is second to last only to Justin Fields in pass attempts. So just can't trust that guy right now. He has a 23% target share, which is legit like top 5 for tight ends. But 23% of not very much is also not very much.
I like that math. That math checks out to me.
Yeah, checks out.
This is how I mentioned the negative, but the positive. How freaking cool that we're saying Evan Ingram in this question, right? That the question is Evan Ingram versus Kyle Pitts, and on the other side, how cool that that's where we are at this part in the season. Dennis here asked, saying, y'all always say you aren't kicker experts. We're not kicker experts. My answer to this question is going to be to point you towards Lindelian's Twitter and check out her kicker rankings. Rather, if you guys have an opinion between Folk, Zerline, Crosby, Lutz, and Gould, or Coop's going to look up those kicker rankings, and we'll answer that question for you. We'll get an answer to your kicker question, Dennis. Guys, let's talk about that football game we watched last night during the first half, or we got to the end of the first half, and I was sitting there thinking, like, no way. This can't happen again, right? Like, we can't have 2 no-touchdown Thursday night games in a row. It's not possible. And luckily, the teams picked it up a little bit in the second half. But my other thought, Coop, I texted it to you, was funnily enough, the no touchdowns bet would have been a pretty fun sweat in the first half. Know what I mean? Like there were twice where the Bears got down inside the 5-yard line. Didn't come away with a touchdown. Like if you had the no touchdowns bet, if you had no touchdowns first half, like that was maybe the most fun I've had not cheering for touchdowns, or would have had not cheering for touchdowns right there.
It's the most fun I would have had.
That's the most fun I would have had right there. JL, I completely skipped over you. It sounds like maybe you had an answer to that kicker question from Dennis.
Yeah, I think we can answer. So Lutz is pretty interesting. Gould going against Atlanta. Expect them to score a lot of points. Just looking at matchup here. A lot of times when I'm looking at kickers, I want to look for games that I think there's going to be a lot of scores, or at least a lot of field goals, right? Like there's going to be defenses that are stopping these offenses just enough. Yeah. Easy
I've
strategy.
never actually
right
thought
there.
about that, dude. Like if you're picking what kicker to start, you want to look for a lot of field goals.
Yeah. Super easy. Super easy. Maybe that'll help you guys next.
Now that I
Maybe next time you want to look at this right.
Now that the secret's out. Yeah. So okay. So where are you leaning with this? Where are you leaning with this?
I'll lean Lutz. I'll lean Lutz out of the group.
Okay.
Lutz. Yeah, I don't mind that against Cincinnati. That could be a decent one. Coop, you got a strong opinion on this?
Yeah, my strong opinion on this is to follow what I believe to be the best kicker analyst. Like we can only spend so much time researching the different things that we research. I spend a lot of time on tight end, means I don't have a lot of time to spend on kicker. That's why I check with Lynn Delians. She's my favorite and a good friend. She has one kicker way above the others here. She has from bottom to top, she has Zerline at 24, Nick Folk at 23. So those are not guys you want to play. Then she has Lutz at 13, Robbie Gould at 12. So JL picking a K1. But in her rankings, she has Mason Crosby at 5 overall for this week. 5.
Wow.
So
Mason Crosby
Going against the Jets.
Going against the Jets, it feels like a safe play, right? Against the Jets. And where's that being played? That's at home in Green Bay. So he knows the conditions. The thing that blew my mind about like the kicker stuff is that listening to Nick Folk talk, the Patriots kicker, like it wasn't actually Nick Folk. It was Bill Belichick talking about Nick Folk, and he was like, it was such a funny interview because he's like Nick Folk came here. He goes, and he taught me so many things I didn't know, like little things about different stadiums, like where, in certain stadiums, if you're facing one direction, you can't kick it from a certain distance because, the walls of the stadium are so low that the wind comes in. And if you kick it high enough, like the wind will throw it off course. And he's like, and you see Belichick, and he legit looked mad when he was saying, I can't believe I didn't think of that. And he was like pissed. He was like, I can't believe I never thought of that. And then Nick Folk came in and taught him a few things. So if you're teaching Bill Belichick things about kicking, that's interesting. But like, I just never really thought about that. That like, I know like different weather and different locations, but I never thought about how like one side of a stadium might have a wide open thing, whereas the other side might have these big giant walls, and that affects kicking in both directions.
Yeah, that's wild. Craig's saying that is some real Nick folklore. Yeah, that is some real Nick folklore right there.
That's pretty good.
They say Bill,
good one.
That's pretty decent. Pretty decent.
Yeah, that's a solid one. Craig is the best though. He's the best there is at the puns. There's Bill Parcells used to. They said there was this huge door that would open like to let like in like big equipment and stuff, and he would basically pick the side, and then at halftime he would either open or close those doors, and it would create like a wind tunnel. So like he would open them when like it's at his back and at the other team's face, and then when it would switch at halftime, all of a sudden those doors would mysteriously be closed. So it's like some of these coaches are at least aware of the wind tunnels and whatnot going on.
Absolutely. I see Jimmy Anderson in the chat saying happy
Jimmy
Friday, boys.
Anderson.
What's up, Jimmy? Welcome.
What
He's
up,
taking
Jimmy?
any calls this morning. We're always taking calls. If you want to come on, talk a little bit about that game last night, tell us your feelings about this upcoming game. The one upcoming game that we have this weekend, all of them. You can call in and talk to us about those as well. You just got to download the Bettor Sports Network app. It's one button to press, the call in button. You can come up here and hang out with us for a little bit. Tommy also had a question for us. He said, "What is Rodrigo Blankenship doing now? Goggles, the goggles kicker that got cut by the Colts. Whatever he's doing, he's disappointing his overbearing father. That's for sure. His dad like runs a website with his highlights, like back from high school, with like the most like self-serving wording ever. That's and that like." Even though the team lost, it was in spite of a stellar kicking performance from Rodrigo Blankenship. Like it's all written like that. Like he's the superstar, he's the main character. So his dad's probably pretty upset right now, just not happy with his son.
His dad's already working on like the comeback montage video.
Yeah, that's what his dad's doing.
Eye of the Tiger.
Window movie maker.
Yeah, you know his dad's like sending emails with highlight tape to all the different NFL teams, links to his blog about how good he was.
Last time I heard, he did get a workout with the Jaguars. They didn't.
Yeah,
go
I was
with
just
him,
reading
but,
that in September, late September.
So I don't know.
We had some questions in here before we keep talking about that Commanders Bears game. Monir said, "Should I trade Walker and ETN for Connor, half PPR?" So Walker and ETN for James Conner. You guys doing that?
No,
can't
keep
do it.
Walker and ETN.
Kenneth Walker could be just as good as James Conner, and James Conner's hurt right now. I mean,
Yeah, and ETN. I think
Yep, I'm with you guys.
two of these guys. Yeah, might as well just keep that.
depth.
Maybe potential late season wild card on your bench.
Yeah, because look at Breece Hall right now. He's really starting to separate himself from Michael Carter, and I don't think it's crazy for Travis Etienne to eventually do that along with James Robinson, right? He's the future.
Yeah.
Dennis in here said, "Last cue for today. I have to drop one player because of a damn bye week. Man,
Damn bye week.
bye weeks.
Damn bye week.
Said, I'm good at RB, thin at wide receiver. Drop one. Garrett Wilson, Michael Thomas, or Cam Akers. Garrett Wilson, Michael Thomas, or Cam Akers. JL, which one of those players are you dropping?
It was Garrett Wilson, Michael Thomas, or Cam Akers. I guess I would drop.
They're good at running back, thin at wide receiver, was what they said. If that affects your decision at all.
I would try and trade Akers if you can. I don't know if you can though.
He's not really even like it's the split there. They made it very clear this week what it's going to be. It's Akers on rundowns and Darrell Henderson on pass downs. So Darrell Henderson to me ends up being the more, he's not as safe, but we know mathematically that even in standard leagues, targets are more valuable than carries, right? So I don't know. I don't really trust Akers. I would probably drop Akers.
That's where I am too.
It's Michael Thomas or Akers. So.
It's Akers for me. Drop Akers. Get him out of there.
You
guys, the 2-for-1 trade. Nice. That Commanders Bears game, we were talking a little bit about it before, but Coop, I mentioned the one sweat that would have been fun, but the other one, you mentioned yesterday on the show that you'd be willing to go down all the way to Ryan Griffin as the first touchdown scorer on those odds. And they design a beautiful play. Ryan Griffin is wide open in the end zone. All Justin Fields has to do is toss the ball up where he can grab it, and he just can't get it to him. Misses him wide open. You were that close to the best first touchdown call of the season.
Yeah, what it's been so far. I think what was it, like 40 plus 4,700? So it was like something around plus 5,000, I want to say. Right?
Yeah,
like that's a $5 to win $250 bet. Right, like
Tommy said he had that prop $10, no joke. Put it on.
Tommy was looking at $500 if Justin Fields could just play quarterback for 1 second. Right, naturally he could not.
No, he couldn't. It was pretty rough. We saw some pretty rough throws out of Justin Fields yesterday, but again, I feel like this is a couple weeks in a row now. We're seeing flashes, right, of like the quarterback that the Bears thought Justin Fields was going to be, who we thought Justin Fields was going to be. Like I'm seeing it. I see it out there, and it's making me believe again. Like he's giving me some hope with some of those runs and some of those throws, especially when he gets outside of that pocket. Like, dude is magic.
Watching Justin Fields is like, it's like bowling, right? Like you go out there and in your mind it's going to be great, and then you're like, oh, dude, this sucks. But then you roll a right? But then you roll a strike, and you're like, this is easy. Why don't you just do that every time, right? Like he rolled out and threw a laser to Mooney sometime in the third, and I was like, yeah, just do that every time, dude. What are we doing, right? And then the very next one, he rolls a gutter ball, and you remember that you're not any good at bowling. Like that's what it's like watching Justin Fields.
Analogy. It's like going bowling Most of the time, you're like, man, this sucks. It sounds like fun, but
when you
it's
go,
just-
you're like, oh, I would be so good. You think you're gonna be so good every time, right?
I am the world's streakiest bowler. Like it's straight gutter balls or a couple strikes. And I remember one time I was on a date my freshman year of college, a bowling date, right? There was this girl that I like from one of my classes that I asked if she wanted
Did
to
you
hang
take
out.
her
She'd
to
been
the on-campus bowling alley?
So she had been taking a class at Clemson about bowling, a leisure skills class. And that's what that was like where she had been bowling, and they make you keep score by hand. And she wanted to like show me all of that. Like she knows how to keep score by hand. So we go to the on-campus bowling alley. We're also freshmen, don't have cars. And we're out there, and I get up, and no lie, first 5 frames, 5 strikes in a row. I've never done this in my life. I am feeling like a king. Okay. I'm like, this is God telling me like this is meant to be. This is the girl I'm supposed to be with. I'm impressing her. Like I'm feeling on top of the world. I go up and I'm like, I've never been more confident in my life that this 6th one's going to be a strike, right? Like it's just happening. Like everything's going right. I take the ball back, go to swing, and the next thing I know, I'm on the ground. And I am not quite sure what happened. I took the ball and I slammed it so hard into my own ankle that I knocked myself off my feet. My foot was so swollen that I couldn't get it back in the shoe that I went to the bowling alley with. And the girl had to help walk me back to my dorm, with my arm around her as I was skipping back to the dorm. We did not have a second date after that. It was that was the end of the first and only date.
So you were the greatest bowler of all time until you suffered a tragic self-inflicted injury.
I suffered a tragic self-inflicted injury.
She
Yeah,
nailed your own ankle with a bowling ball.
Like reverse rookie of the year.
Right, that seems impossible, right?
I can just picture you with this chick too.
Like year is just everyone's experience with broken.
Yeah, it's like, so dude, that's like I can just picture you too though.
So
After the third strike, you're walking back. You're like, how do you score that one? Yeah. They teach you that in class, and then next thing you know, you're lying on your back.
100%. Tommy said, Simon, your life is a movie in the making. Who would play you? Kamal Nungiani would play me. I freaking love that guy. That's who I want to play me. He's so funny. He's going to play me in the movie. That would
what were you thinking taking a bowling major on a date though? How did you think that was going to
She wasn't a bowling major.
She took one bowling leisure activity class.
She's taking one credit hour bowling
what are you
class.
Thinking, dude?
Yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have taken that bowling major out on the date. That was my bad.
Dude, she was so happy as soon as you injured yourself because she was sitting there like, oh, this guy's about to show me up and he is never going to stop talking about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was way better than the time I took the archery major on the date. That one didn't go as well, but that's a story for another time.
Shot her in the
not again.
Not again.
Archery scary.
Kumail Nanjiani. Oh man.
Now I got to go watch a movie with him in it. He makes me giggle nonstop. Like he's one of those guys. That's just
I think he's in Goodfellas.
He's so. Is he?
He's like 3 years old in Goodfellas.
I've never seen Goodfellas, but I've never been more confident that something you said was
that's not true.
And
I'm just trying to trick you into watching good movies, dude.
Okay, maybe I'll watch Goodfellas today, Coop. No more shows after this. I might have a second to turn that on. Goodfellas or Shawshank Redemption? What's higher on the priority list?
Shawshank.
I think Shank is more like if you're trying to cross off ones that people would be upset if you haven't seen, it's probably Shawshank.
So that was like the #1 movie on IMDb for a long time.
I like Goodfellas better.
Squirrel Bob saying Shawshank. And then keep saying Goodfellas. None New Yorkers think
Squirrel Bob
think Shawshank, and he meant non-New Yorkers think Shawshank.
Nobody here in New York likes the Shawshank guy.
Yeah, we like Goodfellas because they talks like us.
They talks. I'm gonna go get the papers. Get the papers.
I like all the answers in the chat. It's just like half the people saying Shawshank, half the people saying Goodfellas. It's just going to be a fight no matter what. Like it's going to make people upset no matter what.
Literally, Tommy said something that every time I mentioned the thing I mentioned yesterday about like finding and like fixing up shoes. Every time somebody goes, "Get your shine box." And that's from a movie you haven't seen, so you wouldn't get it. Yeah. But Tommy in the chat, Coop, get your shine box. Yeah, you have to. Now he's
IMDb, it's still #1 on IMDb. Goodfellas, 17. Number 17. So does that answer your question, Simon?
No,
haven't seen those movies.
It does not answer my question because I forgot to listen to what you were saying. So I just
Real-
heard you say
good.
numbers, and I'm not sure what they
Real,
were
real
related to.
quick. While you got that list up, JL,
Perfect.
let's hit that list. And Simon, you give us a yes or no on seeing these. I'll join you.
We'll do top 10. All right. Shawshank Redemption. Coops, yes. Simon's
No,
no.
I've
Godfather.
not seen that. Let's keep score. I've
Coop?
not seen The
Coops,
Godfather.
yes.
Of course, yes.
All right. The Dark Knight, 2008.
Simon, please.
Yes, I've seen The Dark Knight. I've seen the whole trilogy.
Yes.
Okay. Number 4 is God.
Yes.
Well,
Well,
as
Simon,
you
if
can
you,
imagine, I haven't
Simon,
seen the second one.
if you had seen Godfather Part 2 but not 1, that would actually make me more upset than anything. That would make me.
All right.
Simon's like, yeah, I've read the Chamber of Secrets, but I
Wait
never
till we
read
get
that
to part
Stone
3.
one. Yeah.
All right. Number 5, 12 Angry Men, 1957.
I've not
I
seen
have
that.
seen that.
Yeah.
I
That
watched
one
that
is
in school.
that one's crazy because it's filmed in one. It's 12 dudes in one
Just
room.
the whole room.
And it's
Yeah.
captivating. Captivating.
yeah.
film.
So are we through 4 movies, and so far Coop has seen all 4? Is that correct?
We're through 5 movies, and Coop has seen all 5. Yes.
Okay, and I've seen 1. Just Batman is all I've seen.
Just
I-
the
but
one very popular.
I'll tell you
Batman.
this: like, if you're going to take one of those and put it way on the back burner, it has to be 12 Angry Men. It's an older movie, and it's again, it's 12 dudes in a room. So you definitely got to watch The Godfather.
I think I've
before
seen
you
that
watch
one before. What happens after there's 12 dudes in a room?
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. That's the whole movie.
Huh,
That's
there
all
was a little
movie.
more action in the one I saw.
No, I watched that one in school, high school, I think. All right, number 6 is Schindler's List, 1993.
I have
Liam
seen,
Neeson.
no, I mixed it up with Sophie's Choice. I've not seen Schindler's List. Dang it.
Also watched that one.
So I haven't seen Sophie's Choice. Is that one?
But you've seen Schindler's List?
You idiot! Haven't seen.
Well, yeah, of course I've
Sophie's
seen
Choice.
Schindler's List. Is that
All
one
right,
also?
Coop is
sad?
6 for 6. Coop is 6 for 6. Simon's 1 for 6. Number 7 is Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King.
Oh, I've seen it 100 times. Does that count?
That does not count.
100, dude. That movie's like 3 hours long.
It was my comfort movie for a very long time. That one, where like just while I was doing work, I would just throw it on in the background. Like I have watched that movie, the director's cut, in its entirety so many times.
Have you seen that Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, Coop?
Yeah, I have. Awesome. Movie.
All right, Coop, you are 7 for 7. Number 8 is Pulp Fiction, 94.
Amazing.
I
Simon?
You ever seen Pulp? Oh yeah,
I haven't
that's
seen
right.
Pulp Fiction.
There's one scene in Pulp Fiction I think you would not like at all.
And so the next one, number
It
What the
involves
hell
it
does
involves
that
a
mean?
it involves a large because Simon doesn't
A
like
lot of
the whole, like,
skin?
piercing skin. It involves
yes,
a large
yes.
needle, like a
Yeah,
very
yeah,
large
yeah.
needle.
Ooh, I
right,
got
number
these
9.
cuts on my knuckles the other day, and it really reminded me how openable skin is because it's right on a crease, so
Please.
it like spreads. Whoa!
If you keep
Okay.
saying stuff like that, Keith is gonna play that stupid thumb thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Uh,
All right, number
What's number
9,
nine?
Lord of the Rings: Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh yeah, you know
Assuming
it.
you both have seen that.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And number 10, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Of course. Clint
Wait,
Eastwood.
that's
seen
a
it, Coop?
movie. I thought that was just a shitty college football T-shirt where it was
Dude,
like
you've never-
like,
you've
the
never gone
logo.
through a
Western.
phase. You've never gone through a phase of just watching
Spaghetti
mad
westerns?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're good.
I have
Dude,
not.
he hard in that. I'm not sure if it's that one or one of the other ones, but there's, or actually most of them. He hardly talks in the entire movie, and his character doesn't even have a name.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I
no-
have seen that movie. That's a
He
good
never
one.
says his name, and no one ever calls him by a name. He just walks around just like grunting and shooting people.
Hey,
Dude, there's so many good movies on this list.
I got, I'm like, I know 2 of them were Lord of the Rings and 1 of them was Batman, but I did not expect to get to 3 whenever we went through the top 10 movies on IMDb. Like that was not what I was expecting to get to. I'm impressed with myself. I saw none of the like real movies that got brought up, but it was 3.
Have you
for
seen
me.
all those, JL?
I've seen every single one of those.
Yeah. Well, because you're normal.
I went in high school. I went through my literature teacher and I started going through this list like separately. Like we'd watch it and then during like lunch or something talk about them. So I've
Real
seen
quick,
a lot off this list.
just I got the list up now too. Scroll down. See how far you have to scroll to find one that you haven't seen.
Oh, mine stops at 1. Done with that list right there.
I think I might have.
Maria
different
said
lists
she
than
got
you.
3 out of 10 and said she's impressed with herself too. And Jay got 6 out of 10 with 2 of those that he didn't see
Joe.
being Lord of the Rings.
Top 100 greatest movies all time. Is that the list you're on?
Yeah. No, top 250.
Top 250.
Man,
I think Life is Beautiful is the first one that I haven't seen. It's
What
on this
number is
list.
that?
And that's number 25. But I've seen almost all the movies, a bunch of the movies after that. So that's
Ooh, I don't think
Absolutely
I've seen.
killing
I haven't
it,
seen
though.
that one you just mentioned, so that might be.
I have not seen that one.
That's
Life
your
is
homework.
beautiful.
How is 7 on here, dude?
Seven's a good movie.
It's a good movie, but is it the 19th best movie of all time?
I don't know. You ever seen City of God?
Oh my god, I love that movie.
It's a
Although
long one,
I
but
don't
it's
speak
really
Portuguese.
good. Yeah,
Jimmy said role model should be in that top 10.
Oh,
Yeah,
so-
where is
Wait,
role
have you
models
seen
on that list?
I've never
I
seen
don't think
Seven.
it's on here.
Seven Samurai is the first one I haven't seen. I've not seen Seven Samurai.
You haven't seen Seven Samurai? Seven Samurai is
No.
really good. It's super long though. It's like
How
a
long
long
can we
black and
just-
white.
How long can we just ask each other if we've seen a movie? Like, do you think we can keep this going for another 20 minutes?
Forever.
Have you seen
We can
this
keep
movie?
this going on forever.
I've seen this movie. Have you seen
Jimmy
this
Anderson,
movie?
great pick, dude. Role models should be in the top 10. That movie.
Role Models is a pretty good movie.
You're the king,
I,
Wheeler. You're the king.
I've watched Role Models, but in Spanish. I with subtitles, but I wasn't really fully paying attention, so I have like a vague understanding of what went down in that movie. It was just on in the background playing in Spanish whenever I was in Mexico one time, and that's the extent to which I've seen Role Models, but probably belongs in the top 10. Probably belongs in the top 10. Guys, the Commanders-Bears game last night, we talked a little bit about Justin Fields looking magic, but Darnell Mooney had a fine game. It wasn't a like world-beating game. It wasn't what I was hoping for at the beginning of the season, but 12 targets, that's what you love to see. 7 receptions, 68 yards. In a PPR league, you're pretty happy with what Darnell Mooney did last night. Dale, is Darnell Mooney, is he safe from being a drop candidate with this target volume? Because I feel like people were talking about him being someone you could drop from your fantasy teams. 12 targets is nothing to sneeze at. And he should have had a touchdown.
Nothing to sneeze at. He's got a 29.7% target share in this offense, in which case, what Coop said, 29.7% of nothing is not very valuable. Darnell Mooney still, like, even on a bad offense, I'm fine rostering the player with the highest target share with a 29.7% target share, just in the hope that Chicago is able to put something together better than they have in the beginning of the season.
I can't drop guys like that, especially when they're finally throwing at least a little bit. You know, I mean, like the thing is, Cole Kmet unfortunately didn't get the targets himself, so if he hasn't been dropped, he probably is droppable now. But I mean, Mooney played 92% of the snaps too, so he's out there every play getting the targets. They went to him when the game was on the line. Got to keep that guy.
Yeah, 100%. And he should have had that touchdown at the end of the game. On the initial play, I thought he had, like, whenever I just watched it live before they showed the replay, I was like, oh, touchdown for sure. I didn't see the ball come out the second time, right? Like the initial contact with the ball was over the goal line. Like he had it. If he would have just held on to it, it would have been a touchdown, but he fumbled it. Great play by the defender getting him out of that end zone before he secured the ball. And no touchdown, but like he was that close. If he can just hold on to that ball right there, it's a touchdown for him. And we're looking at him as a 20-point wide receiver this week, right? Instead of around that 14-point range. But I'm with you. You can't drop this dude right now. He is not droppable. Now, is this guy startable? Dante Pettis with 7 targets yesterday, 4 receptions, 84 yards, and a touchdown. Almost had a second touchdown as well. Is Pettis back on the menu? Is he someone you can start? Is this a resurgence for Dante Pettis?
Don't say his Pettis back on the menu.
No,
definitely not.
Short answer, no.
Send it
Long
back.
answer, no. Like he's just not. He's just not playing enough. He's not playing enough snaps, man. He's playing like 2/3 of the snaps at most. Like if it was a situation where, like, for me to start the second wide receiver on a not so good offense, I need those two guys to both be playing every snap, right? Like I'll start Mooney because he plays 90% of the snaps. I can't take a bad quarterback and start a dude that's playing 2/3 of the snaps. If at any point he gets to that level, then we can start talking about it. Because most teams, if you really think about it, have 2 guys that play every snap and then a third guy that rotates with like fullbacks and second tight ends and 2 running backs or whatever they want to do. So most teams have 2 guys that play every snap. Some teams only 1. And Pettis just isn't one of those guys. So I can't trust him.
Cool Star 46 says, tip of advice. Don't ever pick a Commanders player.
That's just the tip of the advice. I want to hear the rest of the advice, though. If that's just the tip, Coolster.
Right.
If you could give us the rest of that
Just a tip
advice,
of
that would be
advice.
fantastic.
The coolster pops in. He's like, "Here's a tip of advice.
Tip of advice for you.
I'm the coolster." No canola.
Also, Maria said, "What about Stick It?" And Jay said, "Maria, this is a family show."
What is Stick It?
Is that
Stick
the
It? You never seen
cheerleading
Stick It? The
movie?
gymnastics. It's
Oh.
gymnastics.
Of course not, dude. I've seen
Oh
every.
man, you were about to have all the gymnastics stands come and drag you, Simon, for saying cheerleader.
I'm so sorry. There are cheerleading movies. I was thinking of Step It Up, right? Is that what I was thinking of?
Step
was
It
thinking
Up.
of a-
Is Step It Up the dancing one?
I watch every cheesy dance.
Step It Up might be
I
cheerleader.
love
It is
those,
dance.
dude. I love that.
There is a cheerleader one for sure.
Every-
though.
Is there like some sort of like contract out there that was signed that every single one of those dance movies has to have that song in it that's like engine number 9 on the knee. like every single one of those movies, like it has to be in there somewhere, no matter what it is. Have you
That's
noticed
hilarious.
that? Yeah,
I don't
On
even know
New
the
York
song.
Transit line.
Engine number 9.
Yeah, like, dude. Hey, anybody that knows those movies knows what I'm talking about.
And then
Bring It
Adam
On
said
has-
Ferris Bueller's Day Off is also a classic. And Jimmy saying, I was thinking that too, Adam. You guys like Ferris Bueller? Are you Ferris Bueller fans?
Of course.
I've seen it once. It was good. It doesn't stand out where I'm like, that's one of my favorite movies of all time, right? But I liked it. I had fun watching it. It's been a
The
while.
fir-
I probably haven't seen it in 10 years.
When I was like a kid, I was Team Ferris, and now that I'm an adult, I'm like, Ferris kind of a jerk. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
it's kind of bad.
Well, I love how we got back to movies, dude. Keith is gonna be so pissed. Keith is gonna start like forcing us to go to break.
Adam saying, I'm playing against Wentz and Curtis Samuel this week. They have a combined 6.7 points.
Yeah, nice start for your week. That's a coolster move right there.
Coolster
starting
move.
with
Tip of
those kind of
advice.
points. And Coolster said, I got lucky with Brian Robinson, but damn, does Curtis Samuel disappoint me again?
I got a new
Brian
show
Robinson-
idea, dude. It's called Coolster and Mr. Cool. I'm Mr. Cool, he's the Coolster, and it's just me, and I just read his comments all show. But every time I read them, I say the last couple words like this. I go like, I got lucky with
Coolster.
Brian Robinson, but damn, did Curtis Samuel disappoint again? Thursday Night Football is so bad that we're talking movies.
And talking movies. Jimmy Anderson.
Jimmy,
You know,
it's me.
It is
Jimmy
kind of
Anderson.
funny, even as we're actively trying to get back to football, it just like keeps on worming its way back to movies. Like all of our brands are like, don't talk about this game. Don't do it. Don't do it. Like just
Dale basically told Keith to shut up in the chat. He was like, he's like, give the chat what they want. If the chat keeps bringing up movies,
Listen, if the chat wants to talk, we're here for the chat. If the chat wants to talk about movies.
we'll talk
We're here to
movies,
talk
dude.
about movies. You want football? We'll talk about football. You
Talk
tell
about
us.
football, dude.
Yeah, well, we got a question from Loaf. What's up,
Loaf?
Loaf? Welcome in.
Yes,
It's
Loaf.
start 3. Diggs, Kirk, Waddle, Myers, Moore. Diggs, Kirk,
Ooh.
Waddle, Myers, Moore. Got to start 3. Well, Diggs, lock it in.
Auto
Diggs
start.
is 100%.
I think Waddle's an auto start as well.
It's probably like looking at these names, then I think it's Myers for me. I think it goes Jacoby, Waddle, and Diggs for me. Those are the 3 guys that stand out.
Very
It's
difficult
close
to
with Kirk.
trust
It's
Kirk.
close
Kirk-
with Kirk.
Kirk is so like Kirk goes well above like the Dante Pettis types because he does play every snap, but Kirk's kind of he's being a bit of an Amari Cooper as of late, has he not? Like
In
he's
what
either-
way?
he either has a big game or he has 1 catch for 6 yards. Like
Yeah.
that's the Amari Cooper style. That's always been his style.
You know, maybe
Yeah.
I don't like Christian Kirk enough. That tends to be my favorite kind of player. The ones where like it elicits an extreme emotional reaction from me at the end of the week, no matter what, either positive or negative. Like I don't want someone I'm just fine with. And if that's going to be the Christian Kirk experience, I'm in.
I think I would go.
I've been
Kirk
such like an emo kid football player. He's like, I don't
Yes.
care how they do as long as they make me feel something.
Dale, where are you going here? Which one of those players are you sitting? Or are you starting? You
Starting
have
at
to start
3.
3.
I'm going Diggs, Waddle, and Kirk.
You're taking Kirk. JL's the real emo guy. He wants that emo Kirk.
He wants those
experience over
feels.
there.
Yeah, no, I'm with you though. Go big, man, because Kirk has higher upside than Jacoby Myers, right? And you can't start DJ Moore with Peach at QB, but maybe keep an eye on Peach.
PJ Walker.
Peach and Peach, though, I like the sound of that.
Peach and
Tommy-
Peach.
Peach and
Peach
Peach.
shows.
Tommy had a question for us. Said best sports movies of all time. Basketball.
Easy.
Field of Dreams.
Oh, basketball's so good, dude. Koopa's quit basketball too. Guy's like,
It's probably basketball. It's got to
Is-
be, right?
Is
You should have
Gladiator
been
a sports
gone.
movie?
No, the number one
mean-
sports movie is Remember the Titans. 100.
It's a pretty
Is
good one.
Gladiator a sports movie? Is such a JL
He-
question. Like that is such a way to weasel around that question.
At
and pick
one
such a
point in
good
time, it was.
movie.
Yeah. JL's favorite sports movie.
All right,
Gladiator.
excuse me. I won't
Favorite
say it.
Christmas
I won't say
movie?
anything.
No, I
Die
like
Hard.
it, JL. It's just so it's very you to be like.
I'm
Gladiator,
looking
they
at this
play a
IMDb
sport.
list trying to find the top sports movie on here. And that's why I asked, because
Yeah.
I'm not seeing any.
What is this? It's got like Hoosiers. Like
Star Wars a
no,
sports
it's
movie?
Remember the Titans, bro. We are gonna do up downs until blue is no longer tired and thirsty.
Could it be? It might be Remember the Titans. Maybe Air Bud. Air Bud was a
Airbud's
classic.
pretty
over
good. It's
there.
Reservoir
Air Bud.
Dogs.
Ooh,
A
Squirrel
dog
Bob.
movie?
Squirrel Bob dropping a Sandlot up in here. Oh, Happy Gilmore.
Dude, I just watched Sandlot.
This- hey,
Sandlot's pretty
This
good.
is gonna be a bracket. We're doing a
Yeah,
bracket.
we got to
next
do a
week.
sports movie bracket.
Yeah.
We'll do one of
Submit.
these.
Yeah. So tweet at us. We'll put a tweet up. Tweet at us with your favorite sports movies, and we'll put
Ooh,
together a
Coolster
bracket.
says Moneyball. Moneyball's
Let's
a
do
good
a 64. I've got a lot of
course.
movies to watch
Of course,
before
of
then. We
course,
need to
yeah.
bracket a week in
one.
advance
Moneyball.
so I can start watching the movies because I probably haven't
Yes,
seen all of them.
yeah, you need
Like-
to watch that.
Like we're just gonna go through a bracket. And it's gonna be like, yeah, I've seen Air Bud
Will.
and basketball, and that's about all I got
Will.
right there.
Will is on brand with Kingpin, but then that opens
Kingpin.
another JL question. Is The Big Lebowski a sports movie?
That's a good question. I think
We're
it
gonna
is.
we're gonna have to think about that one, guys.
I'm asking that on Twitter right now.
Guys, coming up, we're going to be talking about these Sunday games that we have coming up this weekend, as well as Vinny Iyer joining the show to help us break down some of these. And then later in the show, our friend Aaron Ladd, sports anchor on News Kansas City's KSHB 41 News, and Arrowhead Pride contributor is joining the show to talk some Chiefs with us. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Better Sports Network.
Surely, kickers never retire, I think. They just continue playing for all eternity. Like, there's only ever been 30 NFL kickers.
Yeah.
They're always readily available too, it seems. Like, you know what I mean? Like they just get called up. They're like, you kicked for us 10 years ago, right? Why don't you
Let's run it back. Let's
I
run it.
imagine
Graham
every
Gano. Why don't
single
you pop
kicker
in?
that gets the call is on a high school football field somewhere just practicing field goals after hours. Like it's like 9 p.m. and they're out there just at the local high school kicking field goals and the phone rings. They get a call and they're like, yeah, I'm ready. I've been practicing for this.
I have an amazing kicker story if you guys have a second to.
I got a
So,
couple.
The number one all-time field goal kicker is Adam Vinatieri. The next two guys are Morton and Gary Anderson, right? Gary Anderson was a dude from like South Africa that just played rugby and soccer. He just could absolutely boot the ball, right? They bring him over and he does like a tryout and he's just absolutely crushing the ball. And all these colleges are like, dude, we want you to come kick field goals for us. And he goes, I don't even want to play football. He goes, I want to play soccer. He goes, I want to play soccer. He goes, so if I can come to your school and play soccer, I'll also, in the fall, I'll kick for the football team. And Syracuse was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, you're on the soccer team. Like, come on. And he went to Syracuse to play soccer, but also kick field goals. And then he ended up being a top 3 point scorer in the NFL all the time.
That's ridiculous.
And his answer to recruiters was, I don't want to play football. I'll do it in my spare time.
Yeah. He's like, you got a spot for me in the soccer team. Syracuse is like, yeah, we got a spot for you.
We don't even care about our soccer team.
We don't even care.
We
We
can
don't have a
totally have
soccer
that spot.
Right? They had to like cobble together a soccer team. They're like, yeah, this guy's the captain.
Oh my God. It's like Accepted, the movie, but they just like had to throw together a whole fake
Somehow-
soccer team.
Somehow they still got Justin Long.
Right? Yeah. Like, Adam Sandler's the coach. And dude, it's imagine they win the national championship. That's a movie, dog. Yeah.
Boom!
Someone call up Disney. Yeah, we just wrote a movie for you, Disney. This has Disney sports movie written all over. I'm borderline crying right here just thinking about this movie right now.
Dude, the story gets even crazier. Like I should have looked it up again, but like it was like a high school coach that went and found him, and then that high school coach ended up being somebody crazy famous that like coached for the Rams.
Stay tuned for sports. Talk about your picks, your fantasy teams, and your sports collectibles on Better Sports Network.
Welcome back in, everyone, to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network. JL had to go watch Airbud real quick, get a quick refresher, but he will be right back. Jimmy in here saying, not trying to plug it all. Dude, plug away. But he's saying they have a podcast called Beers and Bets. Not huge, but we did a similar bracket a few months back. So if you guys want to see Jimmy's movie bracket, sports movie bracket, go check it out on Beers and Bets.
If you're a regular here in the chat, dude, plug your stuff. If you're a porn bot out on YouTube, come on.
Plug your stuff.
Plug your stuff.
Plug your stuff. You know, I mean, dude, honestly, though, the porn
That's
bots
like a
are
triple entendre with a porn bot.
Ooh,
a bot. You
that's
plug in a robot. Plug could be sexual, and plug is in put your porn stuff in the chat. That was just like a JL. Bravo. I don't even know if you meant the rare
me?
triple entendre right there. That
dude.
was beautiful.
Yeah, you're
Thank
Mr.
you.
Cool
Thank
now. The dude, the thing is, the porn bot is a regular here. So I guess that they,
That's true.
You know, they do have the green light. And I cannot believe that nobody said until we started this conversation like, you know, just after 8. We made it all the way to 8:10 until someone said Space Jam. Space Jam might need to be a 1 seed on this bracket. The original Space Jam.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
I'm about to get some
Pretty
hate.
good.
I
That movie is
rewatched it.
phenomenal.
I rewatched it in preparation for the new one coming out, and it was not as enticing as I remember it being. I wasn't like drawn in as much as I was as a kid. I was just like, I found myself getting bored while watching it. Same thing happened when I watched that Peach Dragon movie, where like I remember it being great as a kid, and then I go to watch it, and I'm just a little bit bored. It didn't hold up for me. People can hate me if they want, but
You know what's a great
love
movie?
it. What?
Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams? That is a great movie.
Yeah.
Man, we really have to do this bracket over here. Also, we got JB Barry in the chat saying, isn't it crazy that this will be the last show that Coop is Coop before he becomes Andrew Rose this weekend?
That is pretty crazy.
And Tommy's saying
Beautiful
this is Coop's bachelor party. Talking movies, quotes, just need some brewskis.
Just
Maybe we
the
should
boys,
break out a
dude.
brewski at 7 a.m. for Coop's bachelor party right here. That would be
8
that would be
8
fun. We
a.m.
could tip
somewhere,
it off
bro.
of- yeah, it's 8 a.m. for you guys. Coop's like right here, right now where I am. It's 8 a.m. We're ready
dude.
to go. Also, I saw
party
Jimmy
must have had
saying,
100 Bud Lights.
Jimmy asking if you guys got a number I could call, send it in here. Unfortunately, we do not have a number right now. The options to call in are over on that app. It's that one button, but maybe we can figure out what's going on with your app, why you're unable to download it over there.
That's right, Tommy.
Is
I'm immune. I'm immune to Bud Lights now. So I was
Beelzebubs.
after 100. Those are for hydration purposes.
100%.
Basically.
Drinking
Bud
a bunch
Lights.
of Beelzebubs. Yeah, the Beelzebubs.
That's Fate's Iron Coop on his bachelor party, and he's just like, yeah, I'm 17 Beelzebubs deep.
You caught me during the hour and a half that I was not in the pool out of 24 hours. So yeah, it's pretty pruny weekend.
Pretty pruny.
Pretty pruny. That's the way all my best weekends are described, as pretty pruny.
Pruny.
You guys, after talking about that game last night for a bit, the Bears Commanders game, I think it's time to talk about a game that maybe we're a little bit more excited about. This Bills Chiefs game going on Sunday at 4:26 p.m. Eastern time. It's kickoff for this Bills Chiefs game. Bills visiting Kansas City. They're 2.5-point favorites on the road. A beautiful 53.5 point over under on this one. Quite a ways from our optimistic 37.5 point over under in yesterday's game. This is looking like it's setting up to be a showdown. But JL, do you think that the Kansas City offense can get it going against this Buffalo defense? Like, are we going to see the shootout that we're expecting, or is Buffalo going to be able to shut them down?
No, I don't think you can. I don't think it's possible to shut down the Kansas City Chiefs offense unless you're, what was it, Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl? That was pretty good. They did shut down the Chiefs offense that one time. But mostly, no. Go ahead, Coop.
I was gonna say the offensive line is much better now. And now I'll throw it back to you.
The offensive line's much better. I think it's much more difficult now to shut down this Chiefs offense, despite the Bills having a fantastic defense. So I think this will be a high scoring game. I would take the over in it.
The over on 53.5. Oh, I hope you're right. That's a fun bet
JL,
right there.
dude. JL's putting that game on the big TV, boy.
Let's go. Big TV
Let's
time.
go, dude. Big TV time. Smell you later, Cardinals.
What's the
Seahawks.
total?
53.5 Jail said, "What's the total?" After he said he's taking the over.
I thought it was 53.5, but then I was just
It's like the highest. It's like the
What are
highest.
we,
over
what are we
under-
talking about again?
Highest over under the entire season. Jail confidently takes the over without even knowing what it is. Let's go, dude. Put that on the jumbotron.
Put
Let's
it
go.
on the jumbotron.
You guys taking the coward's way out here? Taking the under?
No,
Nah,
I'm not
never.
touching it.
I'm queen B in it. They're gonna score exactly 53.5.
Yeah, there's a weird rule where you can score half a point. Man, I learned a rule that I had not heard about before last week. I was like reading an article and then something came up where it talked about a play and I was like, wait, that's a rule. And I started reading about it. In the last 2 minutes of a game, the offensive team cannot progress the ball from a fumble recovered by a different player than the one who fumbled it. But it's only in the last 2 minutes of the game that is applicable. Or maybe it's of the half. Maybe it's each half. But like that's the rule. And I get why it's there. It's so teams can't like on last ditch plays where they're just laddering, just like fumble the ball
Throw it
forward and
forward,
hope their
yeah.
team gets it. But
Fumble
I thought that was
rule.
interesting that they allow that up to 2 minutes, but they won't allow that after the 2 minute warning.
Because if you do that pre 2 minutes being left, pre like a desperation play, then you have cojones.
Yeah.
Then you're losing
You
to
know?
this. Then you're the Steelers losing to the
You're
Bills
just
by
turning
40
over
points.
the ball, probably.
Yeah, the Holy Roller. That's the name right there. Tommy got it. Holy Roller.
The Holly
It's
roller is what he said.
The Holly roller.
Holly Jolly.
Or
Roller.
Holly.
It's the Holly Jolly Fumble. Somebody
pretty
was
good,
supposed to.
Coop.
Somebody was supposed to
Very
jump
sing-songy
in and
today.
say something. Yeah.
Say
well, that's nice.
hello.
We're getting married
I'll
tomorrow.
take the high
Coop,
Guys-
Coop. This is like your bachelor show, bachelor party show.
What's up?
What do you
Mr.
what do you
Cool?
want to do
Welcome
for your
to-
bachelor
It's
party
Mr. Cool
show?
and the Coolster.
What's the last
I
thing
would-
you want to do on the show before you get married?
I think what
You
I
wanna
want
watch
to
that
do,
thumb commercial?
what I want to do for my bachelor, since it's my bachelor party, I do whatever I want. I would like to go through the TD scorer props for this Bills Kansas City Chiefs game we're talking about, and see if we can identify the deepest player that we would even consider betting on, like a Ryan Griffin, for instance. Because I'm hot on these right now. I'm
I
hot.
thought you'd ask for something more fun.
Nah, dude. Let's
Coop,
just talk
do you want me
movies.
to?
We
do you
just
want
talk
me to
movies
take
all
my
day?
shirt?
Yeah,
Do you want me to take my
that's what
shirt
you're
off?
asking.
Would that be helpful?
That would
How
actually
about
be, that would actually be
hear me out here?
detrimental.
Simon
That'd be
just takes his shirt
detrimental.
off.
Yeah, that'd be detrimental.
I'll leave the
to what I'm
jacket
doing.
on, but the shirt's gonna come off.
I think
Does that
that's
work?
yeah. Could you do that? I think that'd be more bachelor party vibe.
Ooh,
Get that going.
ooh. You ever
that
just
going.
catch a whiff of your own stank? Man, we gotta wash those pits after this. That was pretty
was gonna
gross right there.
I was gonna say no, but the answer is yeah.
Yeah,
That's
just
the answer.
absolutely yes. Yeah, let's do it, Coop. Let's look at this first touchdown score prop. See how far down we want to go. Travis Kelce's the favorite at plus 750, tied with Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, Devin Singletary, and Josh Allen right behind them at plus 1,000. But it gets deeper down towards the bottom. As you could imagine, it gets deeper the further down you go. I'm looking at some of these names.
I had a name in
This is
mind.
spicy.
I had a name in mind that I was like, oh, perfect. But before I looked at it, I was like, I'll request this because I already have a name. But the odds are too high on the guy that I thought I was being sneaky with, which was Quentin Morris. He actually ran like 30 routes last week with Dawson Knox out, but he's plus 2,000. That's it. Like, there's definitely I mean, like Patrick Mahomes QB sneak is plus 3,000. I think I would bet on that before I bet on Quentin Morris.
Yeah, for sure. Sky Moore, 4,500.
Eh. Dude's hard to
Buffalo
play.
defense,
Not
4,600.
great.
Chiefs defense plus 5,500.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that
not
kind
bad.
the Chiefs defense being that deep kind of ruins the whole thing. Reggie Gilliam, dude, fullback tutty.
Michael Burton.
No.
Here's where I'm
Who
going.
is that?
I'm going with a guy who's had a rushing touchdown for this team. He's already matched his target total from last season. Last season, he only had 10 targets. He's already hit that this year. Know what I mean? It's only
Jenny
out from here.
Fortson.
Noah Gray, I will take as the first time touchdown scorer. We've seen them use him on the goal line, right? Like as a back. So it's not preposterous that they get down there and then they plug in Noah Gray for the touchdown. That's where I'm going to go.
Dustin.
And Noah Gray is sitting at plus 4,500. So that's
Dustin asking where's Khalil Shakir at? He's at plus 2,400.
That's
According to
not a bad
FanDuel
one.
Sportsbook.
Yeah, no, that's too. But again, you can't go with that over Patrick Mahomes rushing touchdown.
at plus 3,000. I'm making my final answer Noah Gray plus 4,500. I like that. That's enough juice behind it that I'm willing to take that shot. Cooper, you going with Patrick Mahomes plus 3,000?
Yeah, I think that's the deepest I'd go, man. Unless you're going to play the defenses, but that is lame.
What
So
we
give me-
should do when we do this is we should like kind of keep score, and you get points based on like how, like based on the odds, right? Like if it's plus 3,000, Coop, maybe you get 3,000 points whenever it hits. But if it's plus 4,100, and we set like a minimum threshold that you have to pick, that way someone's not just picking those like plus
Yeah, you have to
750
pick
guys every
something.
single week.
I think anything over plus 2,000 is legit, right?
Yeah, I'm down for it. So
We're
I'm
all
going
long
with Noah
shots.
Gray. You going with
Oh,
Patrick
well-
Mahomes?
Well, if I can take anybody that's plus 2,000, I will go with my boy Quentin Morris.
Quentin Morris for Coop. JL, what about you? Where are you going on this? Plus 2,000 or more?
I will go with let's go with Buffalo defense. What the hell?
Buffalo defense. What are they at? What are they sitting at? They're
Plus
sitting at plus
4,600.
46. Oh, you just had to show me up by 100. Plus 4,600
If
for
you're going to
JL.
pick a defense, why not go big with the Chiefs defense? Get that extra
Ah,
kick.
I think
I
that's.
didn't,
I think
I
it's
didn't
more
think
likely
about it
Buffalo
that
to
way.
get it.
JL says, ah.
Ah,
Yeah.
That's pretty good
Ah,
analysis.
There
I
you
wasn't
go,
thinking
dude.
about it that way. Tommy said, Noah way. Noah way is Noah Gray going to
I
score.
like that. I like that, Tommy.
Ha 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 ha.
get in line behind Craig, Tommy.
Yeah, you guys.
Who do you guys
Once
think wins
get-
this game? Who's coming
Once
out
you
on
get-
top in this one?
You get Jordan Loop in here with those three, and the puns would just be off the rails.
Just absurd.
Who do I think is what?
Who do you think is going to win this game? Who's the winner of this Bills Chiefs game? What's the score?
I don't know. That's radio, folks.
That's a strong answer.
That's radio.
I think
I'm
I
gonna
think
go
the
with
Bills.
Bills.
The Bills win. Yeah, I think the Bills are a better team. I think they win. I think they win 31-28.
That was very close to where I was going on that one, Coop. I think the Bills win as well. I think they cover. I think they're going to cover that 2.5-point spread. And I'll go with 34-27 is going to be my final score.
You little minx, because you took one of mine. I'm going to go 34-31 Bills.
Nerd. So we all picked the Bills to cover. Every single one of us picked the Bills to cover that 2.5-point spread right there.
And did most of us take the over?
Yeah, we all did.
What's 34 plus 27? I don't know how to do math. 61.
Oh, yeah.
That is definitely over. Wow. I probably should have been able to just like
Oh,
see
yeah.
that by looking at those numbers, right? That was a pretty easy head math, and I just fumbled it.
Head math.
Head math. Should have been some head
Adam
math.
saying Bills 38, Chiefs
That's like-
35. Even the more over. The over.
That's like bowling score math. I mean, we've seen a game this year go to 48-45. So at this point, no scores are crazy.
Yeah, and
That is
also
insane.
12-7 was a really exciting score line. That was, I mean, you know what? But I guess the 12-7 game was better than the 12-9 game we got last week. Like at least
Hit
there
the
were
the under.
there were some touchdowns. There was a chance to win the game on the last play. Like there was some excitement in this game, but in the 12-9 game, it was just pain.
There was some excitement towards the end
of the 12-9
when it was like
game.
9-9. Yeah.
Yeah, when it was 9-9. Now that was the least exciting tie at the end of regulation that has ever existed. Just there's never been a less interesting.
Hey, it got
tie.
ask Keith. Keith was sweating it out. It got a little crazy there.
You're right. If you had the
No touchdowns.
the
being
no
scored.
touchdowns prop,
But just
then you're good
in
to go.
general, I find games that are close in score interesting, regardless of what that score is. If it's still a close match, I still think it's a pretty good game to watch.
I generally agree with you, like generally, but that game tested me last week, like tested my limits of that theory because I was not having fun watching that for the most part.
Yeah, that's the new name of that bet though. Like if you're betting the no touchdown bet, it's called the
The
Keith,
wet blanket,
Keith Sweat.
the Keith sweat,
Gross. That's disgusting.
the Keith sweat.
The Keith Sweat. Yeah, wasn't Keith Sweat was like a singer, right?
That sounds right. Yeah.
And Kevin said the last 2 weeks of football on Thursday have set football back 65 years. I'm holding Jeff Bezos personally responsible. Like, honestly, he should probably give me like 3 free months of Amazon Prime for each of those games, I think, just as like a favor. Though the most absurd thing is if you guys turn on that Prime Vision broadcast, it's beautiful with like the numbers that they're putting up there. It's great, right? Like the stuff they're putting on the screen, but then the games behind it, it's like creating the most like delicious homemade buttercream frosting and then like smearing it on a dog turd. Like you've got the beautiful frosting, but then the thing underneath is just like this juicy, gross piece of dog poop with like the most
don't say
delicious buttercream
juicy.
frosting on top.
Why do you say juicy?
Don't say that, dude.
Because there was some juice to that game last night. It came down to the last minute, but like Prime Vision,
That's true.
beautiful. And then the game, not so great. Let's move on and talk about the next game. Tampa Bay Buccaneers going against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 8.5-point favorites on the road. And I expect them to look like 8.5-point favorites on the road. We saw the Steelers not be able to do much against that Bills defense. Kenny Pickett in his second start going against another very tough matchup in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Coop, how do you see this game playing out? Is it going to be another Steelers blowout where they're on the losing end of it?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the case. It's kind of 8.5, dude. That's calling for a whooping. And the Steelers, I think they know where they're at. I think they know they're not winning a whole lot, and that might be why they're not running Najee into the ground the way they were last year. Last year, I think they were trying to compete. This year, I think they know what team they are. They're trying to develop players. There's really no reason to this year. So why not get Jalen Warren in there? Not good for fantasy football, and could be pretty spooky moving forward. I don't know. Do you think that they can cover 8.5 at least then?
I don't know, man. Whenever we saw the 14-point line against the Bills, I was like, that feels like the smart play, right? To be able, they should be able to cover. I know the Bills defense is not the Buccaneers defense. It's a different game, different team. But I don't know, man. I don't know if they can get in the end zone. I think I would take the Buccaneers to cover this 8.5-point spread if I had to pick a side of it. What about you, JL? Do you think the Steelers can cover this 8.5-point spread? Oh, and he's miming for us again.
8.5 is going to be tough. It's going to be tough for the Pittsburgh Steelers to cover. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. I would take the Bucs.
Take the Bucs. Coop, you agreeing with us, or are you taking them on the 8.5 points?
Yeah, no, I would take the Bucs to cover this.
We got all Bucs on that one. Yeah, this is going to be a gross game. Do you think we talked about Najee Harris a little bit, JL, with Jalen Warren picking up some more of this work, the struggles Najee Harris has had, and this offensive line being as bad as it has been so far? How are you viewing Najee Harris rest of season? Because he was drafted as a RB1, as a top guy, as high as the 5th running back off the board in some leagues. Now, I don't think that's the case, but how far exactly has he fallen for you?
Yeah, in PPR, Najee Harris currently the running back 30 on the season. It has not been fantastic for him. It hasn't been fantastic for him. It's been a pretty tough schedule to start the season. Cincinnati, New England, Cleveland, Jets, Buffalo, and now he's got Tampa Bay, which is also going to be tough. Gets a little bit easier for him a little bit later in the season, but not substantially. So yeah, I think we need to adjust our expectations here. Najee Harris, he's getting a decent amount of opportunity, but that offensive line is just so bad. Yeah. So bad.
I always wonder what level of communication there is. And obviously it's going to be different between every team, but some of these teams clearly are setting up to lose. For instance, you look at the Lions last year where they let a bunch of guys leave to get comp picks. They let all their they specifically let their guys leave and then didn't sign anybody to multi-year guaranteed deals to collect those comp picks for Kenny Galladay, for Marvin Jones, for Jamal Agnew. They got one for. They got one for the kicker, Matt Prater. They specifically only signed one player to a multi-year deal, which was Jamal Williams, because they had 5 guys leave and 4 is the max. So the players know what's going on. I wonder how much level of discussion there is between the top players that are going to be there and the coaching staff. Najee Harris all offseason was saying, I'm going to be getting less carries and, they want me to touch the ball less. You wonder how much level of conversation there is where the coach says, hey, here's the deal. We want you to have a long career. We know that we're kind of in a rebuild here. How do you feel about us kind of taking it easy on your workload? I wonder if those conversations happen, or if that's detrimental to a player to even mention that, But with a guy like Najee Harris, they have a vested interest, in keeping that guy healthy. He was a 1st-round pick, so they're going to have him for 5 years total. So assuming they pick up his 5th-year option. So I don't know, man. It's kind of a weird area to live in, right? What do you guys think? Do you think those conversations ever happen, or do you think the coach is always just we're always playing to win?
I feel
I think they happen.
I feel in general, if the goal was to lose games, that's not the coaches or the players' job. That's the GM's job to make sure that roster's set up to be a losing roster, right? Like what you want as a GM, if you're set up to lose games, is a coach that's going to work on starting to like establish that culture, trying to get the most out of his players on his team while they're still losing, like doing their best to win a couple games. But you've got such a bad roster that they're losing. So I feel like the more common scenarios, like the coaches are still out there trying to win every game, but some teams are better at that rebuild than others, right? Some teams are better at setting their team up for that rebuild. But I'm sure the situation you said does happen, like where maybe it wasn't their intention, their plan wasn't to do it, but now all of a sudden the season is thrown off the rails, and the GM has to talk with the coach about what their goals are.
Like these guys aren't stupid, right?
Yeah.
No, they're not stupid.
Urban Meyer.
Tavon Austin, but I mean the players know. Like the players on the Lions last year were probably aware that the new GM came in and was trying to do a rebuild.
Absolutely.
They have to.
No, they have to. Guys, coming up, we've got some questions in here as well. Kate said, do I start Russ if the next best option would be Mac Jones or Jimmy G? So would you start Russell Wilson over Mac Jones and Jimmy Garoppolo? Coop?
Absolutely. You have to. You can't bench Russell Wilson for Mac Jones. And I'm a Patriots fan. I mean, he already had zero mobility and now he has a high ankle sprain. Like there's no upside in starting Mac Jones. I still have Russell Wilson ranked somewhere like 15, 16. You know, it's not like he's terrible. It's not like he's.
I'm okay starting Jimmy G over Russ this weekend, just because he has Atlanta. He's got the Atlanta Falcons, which is a really easy matchup. These guys are close enough for me, but I'm fine if you want to start Russ over Jimmy G or back to back.
Guys, coming up, we'll hit the rest of these questions right after this break with the help from our friend Vinny Iyer, who's going to be joining the show with us. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network.
Bettor Sports Live with Rick Kamla.
He went to Denver to swindle a desperate franchise out of $250 million. That's what Russell Wilson did. He went to Denver in the great state of Colorado and bamboozled them all, including me. And now he is just bilking $250 million from these people. These poor people, they don't deserve this. Totally on board with the decision to bring on Russell Wilson. Totally on board. I don't regret it to this day. Absolutely the right move. Bold, aggressive move, make a big trade, pay him all the money, bring him in. Now you're in the Super Bowl fast lane. Let's go giddy up Peyton Manning style. Russ is the one who has not held up his end of the bargain. This is on him, and I am looking at him completely differently right now.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis. Weekdays at 5 Eastern.
I wasn't going to mention it. I wasn't going to bring anything up.
Grounded slowly to third. Manny charges his. Now plays the hop. Throw to first is in time. And the Padres have not only captured the moment, they have captured the wild card series.
Really sucks when it comes to our New York Mets. They lost. Joe Musgrove's ears were pretty shiny, but whatever. They found nothing growing, and just like that, 101 wins out the window.
Yeah, I mean, disappointing performance to end the season. They played their worst baseball over the last month. They didn't do much at the trade deadline, which came back to hurt them all year. I said it was imperative that they win the division because of what happened. You put yourself in a 3-game series now where, you know, you run into a team with good starting pitching like the Padres with Yu Darvish and Musgrove dominating, and this is what happened. So definitely a disappointing season, at least the end to the season, you know, and they didn't come through when they needed to. They needed one win in Atlanta in the 3-game series. They didn't get it, and they showed up Saturday and did not show up at all last night. Just one hit, just really bad, man. So I want my refund for the divisional round because I did get tickets. And then they tell you, oh, you're not going to get your refund until 3 to 4 weeks after the conclusion of the postseason. Really? 2 months? Come on, give me my money now. You're not playing it. Give me my money back.
Maybe they have net 60 or something.
No, man, just give me my money. You're not playing. I want my money back.
Yeah, don't worry.
Shouldn't have to wait.
You'll win it back with your fantasy basketball league anyway, Ronis. We know how it goes, okay? We know how it goes.
Bettor Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network. Joining us right now is our great friend, Vinny Iyer. For those of you that do not know Vinny is an NFL and fantasy football writer over at Sporting News and a host at Locked On Fantasy Football. Vinny, thanks so much for joining the show today with us, my man.
Yeah, thanks for having me again, guys. So I heard you guys were talking about sports movies.
Oh, yeah. You got a favorite sports movie, Vinny?
It's hard because I've got a lot of them that I like, but I still like Bull Durham. It's one of my favorites.
Bill Durham.
Yeah,
Bull Durham.
it's fun. It has a little bit of everything in it, so can't.
That might be that might be the most critically acclaimed one of them, right?
Might
like
be.
that one's up. Field of Dreams obviously up there too, but yeah, that's a good movie.
You're going to make Joey happy with that one. Our friend Joey Wright with FIF.
Joey messaged me immediately. And I was just sitting here thinking while we were talking movies, how Joey's going to just give me grief that he wasn't here listening for the movie talk. And I immediately get a text message, please bring me on for the sports movie bracket.
Yes.
Anyone
can call in. Like if you have a movie that you like, we keep saying this. We'll put you on, dude.
Joe, what time did you get that text message? Okay, at 8:16 Eastern time, I got a message that said, please bring me on for the sports movie bracket. I will clear my morning, is what he said. Okay. I got a second text after that. He said, I will clear my morning. And Joey said, Bull Durham is the pinnacle. Joey, don't worry. We are not doing the bracket today, but we will make sure we get you up there for it. And Vinny, Joey endorsing your pick right there of Bill Durham.
That's good.
Hey, no shock to everybody here. I've never seen Bull Durham. I have not seen that movie. I got to watch it.
Vinny, give us one more.
I can give you a movie in each sport. I do like Hoosiers quite a bit. I actually kind of like an old school movie called Breaking Away. It's about bicycling. I know it sounds weird, but it's got a lot of good storylines. I think it happens in Indiana, and all these guys start trying to race like European cyclists. It's kind of funny. It's good.
Dennis Quaid. Quaid in that movie.
Dude, Safety might be one of my favorite sports movies.
My favorite bicycling movie is E.T.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
What about Eddie's $1 million
in the basket there?
Dude, that's Eddie's $1 million cook-off is underrated. All right,
that's what I was bringing up. What about Eddie's I just said it as a real movie, JL.
Nobody make fun of it.
I didn't know we could better Disney Channel original movies. Eddie's $1 million cook-off.
I love that one.
Here's what I will say: Eddie's $1 million cook-off. I truly believe it started a trend because I feel like up until that time period, the general plot was the good guys win. Know what I mean? Like they win, and the lesson is like if you keep persevering, you're going to come through on top. Eddie's $1 million cook-off. Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen it, it started the trend of like. It's okay to not win, right? Like he didn't win, but it was about the friends he made along the way and the journey. And like, even though he wasn't the winner, about the recipes, right? Like, and then after that, I feel like we started seeing that a ton more. We're like, it's not always the hero winning the sporting event.
Is he done with the spoilers yet?
Yeah, he's done.
Something tells me the bad guy wins. No.
You're like, oh, LSU has a good defense. Hendon Hooker put up 40. This offense can't be stopped. I somewhat disagree with that. I might actually, we're going to pick this game later, and this Sharp Felix dude, he might be right. I might be going with Tennessee, but I don't think it's just an easy, hey, Tennessee's going to win this just based on one performance against LSU. I think there's a lot of questions around what this game is going to look like. Colin talked about Will Anderson and Dallas Turner. I mean, I think they have the 8th ranked pass rush defense, right? And Tennessee plays very well against against man coverage, not necessarily zone coverage, which actually Alabama has been running. One thing I will say, Nick Saban, greatest coach of all time, knows when to make adjustments and throw that wrench at you to kind of like the Mike Tyson line. What do you do? How do you adjust when you get punched in the face, right? I think they're going to switch some things up. Can Hendon Hooker make those adjustments, especially as you mentioned, without Cedric Tillman? Like that's going to be kind of the main question here. I know Brew McCoy and Jalen Hyatt are really good, but this is all going to fall on a guy who is getting first-round draft capital buzz as well, and Hendon Hooker. Like, what is he going to be able to do to lift Tennessee up to win this game? So I personally don't think this is a, like, equal matchup of Titans going against each other. I think Alabama, as long as Bryce Young plays, Alabama is clearly the better team, in my opinion.
Well, Colin, I want to ask you about that then. That's a great segue into kind of the last thing I wanted to discuss here. Alabama has not been Alabama that we've come to know. Really, the past 2 years, they have not been. They haven't really figured out what their wide receiver rotation is yet. Early in the year, they couldn't really run the ball effectively. It seems like they've got that figured out by this point. The defense hasn't been as suffocating as sometimes we expect them to be. The offensive line, not quite as dominant. Are we just starting to see the tail end of a dynasty here? I mean, is this coming, this run that we've seen over the past 15 years coming to an end?
No, I don't think it's coming to an end here. I mean, they still have 5